Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner. It's nice to come to a hearing when you've got someone who's so unbelievably competent in the position, who can explain things like you are. So appreciate it. Yeah, your graph pretty much said everything. You're at a 50-year low of employees with a record number of beneficiaries, and we're not giving you any money, and we're trying to expect different results. And yet, through going on Amazon Web, you've done this new development where you're tracking people literally minute by minute.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see.
Never had before. Couldn't be any more efficient.
Blind before.
When you figure out what's on their coffee mug at home, then we'll really get somewhere, I guess. But I mean, you're getting to a level of efficiency that's off the chart. So what I'd rather ask you a couple questions about, just from your experience, because you're leaving in 10 days, is 40% of seniors live exclusively off of Social Security. Best programs that any of my constituents call me about are Social Security and Medicare. Medicare, we got some challenges with Medicare Advantage. I'm not going to ask you about that. That's not your purview. But on this, I have two questions. One, cost of living adjustment. A lot of organizations have suggested we go to a CPI-E, something that recognizes expenses that seniors actually have. Right. I'd love to get your opinion on that. And then secondly, the Republican Study Committee, Project 2025, a number of other politicians have recommended raising the retirement age from 67 to 69. I'm someone who has a union printing shop, work with a lot of people in the trades. You're not going to still be laying brick and doing a lot of work at those ages. It's impractical to suggest something like that. I'm assuming you guys may have looked at some of that, since there has been conversation around it. I'd love to hear your thoughts about raising, not only is it a real cut to people, in their benefits by doing that, but practically, what does that mean? And what other type of benefits are we going to have to offer people for disability, et cetera, because you're asking someone to work in an area maybe they can't still work in? So if you could address the CPI-E and then this issue of raising the age.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome questions. CPI-E is an index that acknowledges the fact that seniors have to pay a lot more for a lot of things that younger people don't. Primarily, prescription drugs, perhaps some ambulatory services to get around. And that would be a better way to go. It would be a better way to go, and so I'll just say that. It would be fairer. We need to, 80% of Americans believe we should actually strengthen and expand Social Security benefits. 80%. I mean, even in a very polarized and divided time. I mean, there's more trust in this program in America than any other program, except the Department of Interior. We're second only to Smokey the Bear. So 80% of Americans want it to be sustained, made stronger, and an increase in benefits. My heart goes out to seniors. In 1 month, they're going to receive a COLA increase of 2.5%, and the next month, they're going to receive a notice that their Medicare is going up. So we need to strengthen Social Security, not weaken it. In terms of, this is a debate that goes on. It happened a lot in 1982. They raised the retirement age. The key that the actuaries look at is our life expectancy after we retire. So that's what the actuaries calculate in. And it is a fact, as you've said, that people who work outdoors, who work with their hands, who do very physical work, have a lower life expectancy. So what you're actually doing is reducing their benefit if you don't allow them to apply at the age they can apply right now. I mean, somebody like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett is going to live a lot longer than a bricklayer or somebody that hauls, trash cans behind our homes twice a week. So I think the better proposal for Social Security's long-term health is actually to ask people when they're making more than $400,000 to start paying into it. And we talked about this. Like, all of us pay up to, last year was $168,800, and then we don't pay another penny into it. So as a practical matter, that means a nurse working at Johns Hopkins pays in every paycheck all through that year. But Warren Buffett stops paying after about the first 17 seconds after midnight in Anderson Cooper's show. And most people don't think that's fair.
If I could just do a follow-up to that. I know my time came on late, so I won't ask more than one question. I do appreciate that. I don't want to hold the meeting up. But what is the history of where that figure came in, that adjusts a little bit every year? Because, and one thing I do disagree with the Biden administration on is, I know he said he had never raised taxes on anyone, under 400,000. So we have an arbitrary donut hole. Honestly, you just lift the cap period would be the easiest, most logical way to move forward. But what is that history? So I can
Yeah, the
understand
history of that, very interesting. I didn't know this until I got to the agency. Back in that famous era when Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill had a beer and decided with Howard Baker to extend the long-term solvency of the program, they asked the actuaries and the bill drafters, they said, set a level of income that everybody pays into that will capture 90% of earnings in the United States. And they did, because they needed to build up that surplus reserve for us baby boomers. And however, after they did that, other changes to the tax code created an extreme income inequality in terms of where dollars were earned across that earning spectrum, thereby pushing more dollars to the top 6% of the highest earners and out of the bracket of that 168,000 and adjusted every year bracket. So instead of us, we the people, the Republic, capturing 90% of earnings, we ended up only capturing 81% of earnings. And that's why that so-called solvency date, more accurately, the depletion of the built-up reserve, is going to happen 15, 20 years before they thought it would when they did that 75-year contract. Did that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that. I didn't know that history. And I'll yield
I didn't
back
know it
because
either.
I know my